and just give it a minute to make sure that everything comes up.
Sir. Starting to dump it on the microphone.
Okay.
Peter starts smoking.
All right. It looks like we are up and running.
We're up and running.
Let's go, baby. Unqualified sports talk.
First live stream ever.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone who isn't yet watching.
Because
maybe watching
no
later.
one's watching.
Because no one's watching right now because we just started.
Yeah.
But if you are, welcome. And if you're not,
welcome. Yeah. Happy to have you too.
We're Unqualified, and there's something big happening in a couple days. As some people may know, the NCAA tournament happens once a year sometimes. Because right now, if you only count the last 2 years, it only happens every other year.
Well, last 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. It only happens every other year. So we've got a really big event, a biannually event. And we've got a bracket to fill out.
We do.
Yes,
Very intimidating thing. We're going to basically, you can skip to the end if you want because we're just looked up Jay Billis's bracket and filled in what he filled in.
We filled in Jay Billis's bracket. And we're giving everyone who uses our bracket, we're giving them a free $1 billion because it's going to be perfect.
Because it's Jay Billis's bracket.
Yep.
But just kidding, we're not.
We're not doing that.
Probably should, but we're not. But yeah, I guess we start off. So the rules here are, each of us obviously have differing opinions about who's going to win games.
Yeah.
And this is the democracy here, isn't it, Carson?
It is a democracy, I think.
For the most part. But we're essentially going to have 3 votes on who's going to win each game. You know, we'll talk about each game, why we think who's going to win. And then whoever has majority vote gets to move on to the next round in our bracket.
Yep.
Remember, we're Unqualified, so don't copy this bracket perfectly unless you want $1 billion from Warren Buffett. But
true.
Guys, I guess we can start off with the West region.
Well, no better place to start off.
Yeah. And we do have a play-in game here. So we do have to at least...
Are we going to pick the playing games as well?
We don't have to because I don't think any of us
no one cares
think that Gonzaga is going to get beat by a play-in team.
No.
But
not a chance.
I do think that App State's got the play-in game. I think that
over North.
Yeah, I think that they're really excited about their first opportunity and they're ready. And I think they want to prove to people that they should have been an automatic bid, or they were an automatic bid that should have been in the big tournament of 64, not the tournament of 68. So.
Yeah, my boys, Adrian Delph and Donovan Gregory, local boys from where I'm from, the Gastonia, Charlotte area for App State, so it's fun pulling for them, even though they probably don't still have a shot. Hook them nears anyway for that playing game. But I think it's pretty safe to say that we can all pencil in Gonzaga winning that first game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So congrats, Gonzaga, to being our first winners of Game 1 of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Game 1. Congratulations, even though it's not Game 1.
Hook 'em Gonzaga.
For us it is. Hey, hook 'em Zags, hook 'em Dogs. And I don't think it's a very difficult thing here saying that there's not going to be a 16 in the second round.
Yep, we can pretty much bubble all of those in, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we'll get to those later.
But now we get to the fun games, the 8-9s, Oklahoma versus Missouri. They both have pretty interesting resumes. They actually both have beaten Alabama, who's a 2 seed in the tournament. So that's something they have in common. Oklahoma's also beaten Kansas and West Virginia twice, and Kansas once. They have a pretty well-rounded resume. They also have a decent amount of losses, which can always be concerning to teams who aren't as good. They lost to Oklahoma State and Texas Tech both twice, so that might raise a little bit of concern for y'all. But Missouri's 2 best wins, well, really 3 best wins, they beat Illinois, Alabama, and Arkansas this year, and also have bad losses as well. So, in my opinion, this is kind of a coin flip, but I'm going to give it to probably Oklahoma.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing, but the exact opposite.
Wow.
Missouri?
So Austin,
So it comes down to me,
we've
huh?
got our first tiebreaker.
Uh-oh.
Yes, sir.
So hopefully
Please
I
flip
won't
a
be
coin.
on the end of every tiebreaker tonight, but I think that Oklahoma and Missouri are both coming from conferences that are trying to prove something this year. This is definitely the year where the ACC doesn't just roll everyone, and we've seen some of those blue giants bleed in the ACC. So I think that the Big 12 and the SEC are trying to make a name for themselves this year, but I got to go with Oklahoma. I think coming off of some years in the past where they had Buddy Hield and they had Trey Young.
Kyler Murray.
Wait.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield. Wait. CeeDee Lamb. Wait. I think that they're coming off of years where they had really good players, and they're an organization that seems to have found its footing from a recruiting perspective, and they're competing in a tough conference. So I got to give it to Oklahoma.
Tough this year without Kentucky, but
all right.
So.
Now the always fun
textbook
5-12 matchups. We have Creighton versus University of California, Santa Barbara, who I didn't even know existed. So therefore, I'm picking Creighton because I have no idea anything about Santa Barbara.
I went the same way.
I mean, literally.
I mean, I honestly, I tend to think that I'm a pretty well-rounded. Like, I have a lot of knowledge about college basketball, but I honestly have never even heard of this school in my life. Therefore, I can't give them any credit for doing anything. So go Creighton. Hook 'em Doug McDermott and his dad.
Hook 'em the McDermotts. Hook 'em Blue Jays.
Hook 'em Creighton.
Honestly, one of the better mascots. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say. I mean, the 5-12 is as much of a coin flip as the 8-9.
Absolutely.
But either the 5s or the 12s dominating is always unlikely, which is weird. But on to the next one. Who's Creighton going to be playing?
Either Virginia or the University of Ohio.
Yeah, and if you've seen Jay Billis's bracket, he's got Ohio rolling through the tournament.
He does.
Yeah, and will.
16. That's why we're not doing Jay Billis's bracket, even though it's probably perfect.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Even though we did meet Jay Billis, and
did.
he gave us permission to say that he's wrong. That's not true. We're not qualified. But we met Jay Billis, and he said, hey, a little while from now, I'm going to make a pick, and you're not going to like it. So don't pick with me. So
he actually did tell us who the first person ever to go 94 feet with Jay Billis was.
And
but we're not allowed to say that because you can literally look it up, and you can't find it anywhere.
Nope. But only me and Bryce know.
Only people in the Southeast United States to know.
And everyone we've told. Because we think it's cool.
And it is.
So far,
if you want to know, follow us on Instagram and DM us. Yeah. And we'll tell you.
That's not true. We won't, but we might.
So you might as
maybe
well try.
For $10.
Might as well follow us on Instagram.
Or 20.
Yep.
Or if you buy our merch, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Which is coming at some point. Forever.
In a better way.
Yeah.
But back to the game.
We've picked the top seeds so far. How bad is that? How bad of us is that?
Yeah, I don't think any of us were thinking
Is it going to be any different here?
No.
I mean,
I'm not thinking Ohio.
And I'm not
thinking Ohio either. I've already clicked Virginia.
Yeah, I did too. The only way that Ohio wins this game is if Virginia has to play with 4 players, or if they have to get disqualified due to COVID. Like
okay,
if they have to forfeit their
listen,
spot.
Ohio did play Illinois this year and lost by 2.
Which means absolutely nothing in this game.
And
Hook 'em Cavs.
Virginia played Gonzaga and lost by 23.
Hook 'em Cavs.
As much as I would love to pick against Virginia in any situation, because Hook 'em running Bulldogs, I can't and
beat them.
Yep. All right, Virginia.
So
Virginia, it's over. Jay Billis, we are sorry. Next time we see you, we will apologize. All right, on to the next one, and this is a fun one because we got our second play in without even getting out of the first region.
I know.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It is weird, but I think this one's a fun one. I don't think USC is that good.
I do. I think,
And there it is.
they have Evan Mobley. He's one of the best players in the nation. And, what wins games in March?
The best players.
The best players. And, when he was either first or second team All-American this year. If you have someone of that caliber and you're playing a Wichita State team or a Drake team, who don't have any superstars this year, probably no one going to the NBA, when you have going against a lottery pick, a lot of times we see these 11-6 games where the 11 seed does win because they have those players who are explosive, aka like Ja Morant in the last tournament we saw when they beat Marquette. Yeah, to be on the other side of that, having the 6 seed with the lottery pick against the 11 seed. I know 11 seeds are popular to pick to make the upset, but I don't see either Wichita State or Drake winning this because neither of them, being mid-major schools, won their conference championship either. And that's a big red flag for me. And then when you have the best player on the court being on the better team all around, it's hard for me to pull against you.
The only thing that I would disagree with there is that I think that historically speaking, or in at least in recent years, teams with a lot of upperclassmen and experience have really done well late into the tournament. I think about a team that no one thought could be beaten, Duke, a few years ago whenever they had Zion, and they were stacked to the brim, it seemed like. But they're all young.
Well, even more so a couple years before that when they had Jahlil Okafor and Justice Winslow and, gosh, who else was it?
They won the national championship that year.
Did they?
Yes.
Oh, they beat... Yeah, exactly. That's a counter-argument, Austin. That year, all the freshmen went up against Frank the Tank, who slayed the Giant of Kentucky.
I'm not saying that there's not examples of it. I mean, Kentucky, their entire program is... I'm pretty sure they never keep someone longer than a year and a half. But
well, they have to now because they're awful.
Yeah, true. Maybe everyone will just transfer. So
all right. Well, the moral of this story is, if Drake wins against Wichita State, I think Drake is sidelined all the Raptors games, so Siakam's going to be out there. So I'm picking Drake.
And Bryce, you're going with USC?
Going with USC.
Yeah, I'll also go with USC in this one. I'm saving that upset. All
right, we can save it.
Yeah, this really hasn't been uneventful so far, or eventful.
So
they're coming.
Oh,
This region's pretty
cut and dry.
Yeah.
We're going to have maybe 2 upsets in the first round, I promise.
Because Kansas is beating Eastern Washington.
Yeah. I can't tell you a single player to have ever played for Eastern Washington. You know one, Bryce?
No.
There we go.
No idea.
And
Hook 'em Jays.
It's going to be pretty cut and dry for this next one, too, at least for me. I think Oregon's the best 7 seed in the tournament. I think they could have potentially been higher. They just, in the Pac-12 tournament kind of lost a little steam, lost to Colorado, who they beat earlier in the season, though. But I honestly do think they are the best 7 seed before the Pac-12 tournament. They won 11 of 12. They know how to play together. Losing Peyton Pritchard last year, a lot of people had to step up and make them a cohesive unit, and I think they are that. And, losing in the Pac-12 is way more impressive than losing in the Atlantic 10, did VCU win the Atlantic 10?
I think so.
We'll have to check with the
Can't
stats
sit here
guy.
and tell you they didn't, so.
Well, but I still think Oregon's the best 7 seed in the tournament, so I'm going with Oregon. Sorry, I'm boring.
And Shaka's not walking through the door, so let's go Ducks.
Austin, it doesn't matter what you pick.
I don't have.
And also, they
VCU
they
did
lost
not
to
win.
St. Bonaventure.
Yeah,
they lost to St. Bonaventure by 9.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Bonnies.
Go Ducks.
Oregon, hook 'em. Peyton Pritchard, Dylan Brooks.
And now
Justin Herbert?
we've got
Another shoe-in.
Justin Herbert. Now we've got every single one of these games. The favorite, the higher seed, is going to win because Iowa is not losing to Grand Canyon.
No.
I thought it was a place, not a school.
It is.
So that's pretty weird.
I thought this
So
was
is
one of
Oregon,
those online schools like DeVry.
Or
It is.
University
It
of
is?
Phoenix. Well, no shot.
Yeah, no shot. They actually have a basketball team. All right.
They have
Grand
a Zoom
Canyon, we
basketball
love you.
team?
Congratulations for making it in the tournament. But at this point, it's ceremonial.
Yep.
And Where are we
East.
going next? We
So
going
we'll
to
go
the
to
south or we
the
going
south.
to the east?
East.
Well,
Okay,
let's go
south.
to the south because it fits a little bit better.
Perfect.
Well, we
All
don't
right.
even have to say anything.
We don't
Nope.
even
Baylor over Hartford.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Now,
to
if this
Hartford.
was UMass Lowell or whatever,
Lowell, but
maybe,
UMass Lowell. It sounds like LOL.
maybe,
then, yeah, maybe we would have picked that.
Yeah, we would have
Maybe.
picked it. We would have picked it because we love Obadiah Noel.
And he's going to be on the show here soon, hopefully.
He might.
He might be.
That's not breaking news because it's there's no basis.
But
we want him. But we want him.
But next game, guys, this is an interesting one. We got the Tar Heels versus the Wisconsin Badgers.
Wisconsin Badgers.
the cheese
And-
heads.
As much as I hate it, you guys, I don't think Wisconsin's a very strong 9 seed, and I think
Nope.
UNC's a very strong 8 seed.
I think they're a
And-
6 seed even.
Yeah, and they're gonna win off rebounds alone. Probably their freshman guards are starting to step up. And, the whole season they're struggling from 3, nailing threes now. UNC's a tough out.
Yeah.
As much as I hate it being an NC State graduate and hating UNC with all my heart,
All of it.
it's stupid to pick against them in this game, in my opinion.
No argument there from me. So
No argument. And now we're through, what is that, 10 games. And we've
And-
got the higher seed in every single game.
But let me tell you something.
We're not picking Winthrop.
is beating Villanova because Villanova's best player is out. Winthrop's lost 1 game this season. They know how to play freaking basketball. They're playing at a high level, breeze through the conference tournament. Obviously, Villanova, not so much. They started the season in the top 10 the whole time. Oh, what the heck? They're a 5 seed now. You know why? Because they haven't been winning, and on top of that, their best player's out. That's a recipe for a March disaster. Winthrop.
And that is exactly why Villanova is going to win. It's an upset. Let's go Villanova. And I cannot pick a Big South team other than the running Bulldogs. Ain't that right, Austin? Hook 'em Bulldogs.
Hook 'em Bulldogs. Even though we got outed pretty horribly in our conference tournament, but it's
Hey,
whatever.
Austin, you're a
We'll talk about
tiebreaker, buddy.
Yep.
Well,
What you got?
As much as I would love to pick against Winthrop, I
Yes,
think this is our
sir.
first upset.
It's
Because
the first upset, baby.
up until I saw the
Go
news
Eagles.
about Villanova's top player being out, which I believe was just, a few hours ago?
No.
Nope.
Then there was someone else then that's now going to be out as well because of it, because I got
Oh.
a notification about it earlier. I'm not going to scroll
And
through.
that's exactly why Villanova's going to win. But, hey, 2 against 1.
Yep.
Hook 'em Winthrop.
Archie Diacono's not playing.
He's not. Neither is Chris Jenkins.
So,
It's Chris Jenkins.
Colin Gillespie,
Yeah.
he's out. He's a stud.
Yeah.
Torn MCL.
Well, there we go. 1 upset out of 11 games. How great of us. And is it going to be the only one through 12? Probably.
No.
This next one, though, I don't think any of us are going upset on this one. Purdue against North Texas.
North Texas upset somebody to win their conference titles. That's the only reason they're in. And if you're upsetting someone in a mid-major conference, I'm sorry. I'm not picking you in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, we're going roll Boilermakers on this one.
Yep.
Roll them. Hook 'em Boilermakers.
Hook 'em.
Next game, we have Texas Tech versus Utah State. This Texas Tech team doesn't have a lot of offensive firepower, but they can clamp up on defense. And probably one of the most electric high school players ever to play, Mac McClung, is on that Red Raiders team. He plays hard. He plays fast. Makes some pretty bad decisions at times, but he's one of those guys who can play some ball. Utah State, on the other hand, has a guy who wears number 44. He said the reason he wears 44 is because of the Wendy's 4-for-4. That's what he grew up on. Both of those are super good reasons to pick a team.
Yep.
Texas Tech beat Texas twice, but also has a lot of losses. But honestly, Utah State doesn't have very many impressive wins at all. They beat San Diego State. Kind of it.
Woo.
Texas Tech beat Texas twice, then beat LSU. But they also have a lot of bad losses as well. So this could potentially be an upset, but defense travels in March. Offense maybe travels, and it's hard for me to pick against the good defense.
Yep. And the better coach. I mean, he's one of the best coaches in college basketball.
And obviously the better team.
Yeah, better team, best player, better coach.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best coaches. It's going to be a better coach in almost every matchup. I mean, no matter how much I love the Wendy's 4-for-4, it's hard. It's hard to pick against all of that weighing against Utah State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll have my eye on this one as an upset, but it also might end up being a super boring game, like
I won't be surprised
45-40
either
boring
way.
game. Like it might end
but
up being a real sleeper, but
who you picking, Austin? Obviously
I
it
got
doesn't matter,
Texas
but we
Tech.
want to know your. Okay, you got Texas Tech as well.
Go Patty
Next game.
Mahomes.
And Baker.
800 yards.
Go. Oh, I was about to say go. But next game, Arkansas versus Colgate. Thought that was a toothpaste, not a basketball team. Arkansas.
Arkansas.
I
don't even use toothpaste.
Wait a minute.
I was going to say I don't even use Colgate toothpaste, but no, I don't even use toothpaste.
Just the brush. It's good enough.
Yep.
Yeah.
And here we go.
This
Big
is
matchup
interesting.
right
Also,
here.
Colgate has not faced a top 75 net opponent all year.
Tough.
So,
I don't even know what conference they got their auto bid from.
neither do I, and Arkansas is very good. So if you haven't even faced anyone with talent, how do you expect to compete?
This would have to be a UMBC and Virginia type upset.
For real.
Arkansas would have to play as bad as NC State did that time they scored like 12 points.
24.
Please,
like 12.
please keep talking about it, Austin.
This next game, though, Florida versus Virginia Tech. This is an interesting one. I know in the West, I said Oregon might be the best 7 seed, and I think Florida's the worst 7 seed. They're 14-9. What does that prove ever? I mean, you're barely over 500. Virginia Tech, yes, their record isn't great. Yes, they haven't beaten a lot of great teams, but they have beaten Clemson, Villanova, and Virginia. And asterisk, Villanova was at full strength when they played them, and still in the top 10. I honestly like Virginia Tech in this game. I don't see Florida. I don't know why they were a 7 seed. I don't see them coming out of this game alive after facing Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I actually went the other way with it. I don't think Virginia Tech is as strong as a lot of people are saying they are. And I think Florida has had a pretty up and down year, but I still, just something about having Keontae Johnson makes me think that they're going to pull this one out. So,
is Keontae Johnson playing?
I believe so.
How?
Maybe.
This would have been a much bigger deal if he was.
Yeah,
Everything that I've read has said that he wants to play in this game. Now, I don't know if he's been
I'm
cleared.
sure he wants to.
But, so we'll see. Because as far as I know, there's nothing technically holding him back other than getting cleared by like a doctor, which I have not seen any update saying that he can't. Because he's rejoined the team. He just hasn't been
but
put out
usually
on the
when
court
you
yet.
effectively have a heart attack, you're
So-
not going to be allowed to play basketball for at least 18 months,
Maybe.
right?
But from what I've seen, he's practicing and everything. So, but I stick with it. I like him in this game. So.
Well, I'm going Virginia Tech. You know, they didn't lose to a top 25 team all season. Interesting fact. But, I mean, better competition. And, you know, Florida doesn't have Keontae Johnson. I think they're being seeded like they do, even though you said he might play. I don't think so. So there we go. We've got another upset. Finally another upset. Finally another upset.
And guys, we're done with the South because we don't have to talk about the next one.
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
Ohio State over, I don't even know what team that is.
Oral
Roberts.
Also sounds like a toothpaste.
Also sounds like a toothpaste.
Yeah, we got 2 toothpastes.
Remember, I do not use toothpaste.
And Carson doesn't use toothpaste.
Ever.
Move to the east.
And guys, LSU versus St. Bonaventure.
Because we can shoe in Michigan over
Texas
Mount
Southern.
St. Mary's and Texas Southern.
Guys, I think St. Bonaventure, they they have one of the best starting fives, I think, in all of college basketball, but they literally don't have a bench, which is interesting. And LSU is all gas, no brakes. Great YouTube channel, check it out. But um, LSU has a super high powered offense, doesn't do anything on the defensive side. But I think if you have an experienced team who plays great basketball when they're starting fives in the game, and they play a lot of minutes together too. I They won their conference tournament. A lot of respect to St. Bonaventure. LSU is a good team, a lot of offensive firepower, but I know we said this before. Defense travels, offense doesn't always necessarily travel. And if offense doesn't travel with LSU, which there's obviously a lot of nerves first NCAA tournament game, I'm giving it to the Bonnies.
Hook 'em Bonnies, baby. Austin, your irrelevant pick.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to echo what Bryce said about the LSU offense. I think they come out and maybe start slowly in the first couple of minutes, and they maybe look like they're going to get upset throughout maybe half of the first half, the first 10 minutes of the game, and then they just run away with it. So it is irrelevant, but hey, if we're going Bonnies, then I'm all on board for that. Because these
Hook 'em
8-9
Bonnies,
games,
baby.
if you bet on 8-9 games,
There's something
you would
wrong with
really
that.
need to
money.
reconsider.
I have Georgia Tech is the head of my parlay that I have for the first round, followed by Florida State. But I just let you know, I did put money on an 8-9 game.
Maybe that
Wow.
8-9 game, but
Maybe that 8-9.
But our next game, we have Colorado versus the bid Steelers themselves, Georgetown. And for some reason, people at Madison Square Garden don't know who Patrick Ewing is, but that's their problem. Gotta love a Cinderella story. Gotta love Georgetown playing their way into the tournament. They had to win their conference tournament if they were going to get in the NCAA tournament. They're actually under 500 and entering their conference tournament. They're now 13-12, which is interesting. Under 500 in their conference, under 500 versus top 25 teams. But hey, you just got to get hot at the right time, right?
Yep.
None of their losses,
And they are.
none of their losses against top 25 teams or even tournament teams are terrible. I think this has the potential, obviously, to be a great game. I just have a hard time though picking against Colorado in this game. Pac-12 was decently deep this year. They have a few good wins in the Pac-12. Did they? I think they won that tournament. Question mark.
Answer mark. I was watching that game, and I honestly can't tell you.
I think I was also
They
watching.
were in,
No, they lost. They lost to the Beavers. They lost to Oregon State.
Oregon State.
Yeah, because Oregon State would not
very
have.
close right at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was
that's
like
obviously not a
71-69 or something like that.
Well, hey, I don't think then
Nice.
I'm saying they're not losing to another bid stealer. Okay.
There you go.
Colorado for me, but I'm not going to get mad at anybody if they pick Georgetown.
So you're not going to get mad at me because I like Georgetown. I think that, just like you said, they're getting hot at the right time. Obviously, they're well coached, and there's always got to be a 5-12, right? There just always has to be a 5-12 upset. And I like this one more than any of the other 5-12s. It's kind of funny because we were just talking about Oregon State, and they're the only remaining 12 seed that we haven't talked about. But I like this 12 seed. I like Georgetown in this game.
Carson.
It's all down to me.
Darton.
And I mean, Patrick Ewing's going to suit up and lead them to victory. Georgetown.
I like the boldness.
I don't know if this year doesn't count for eligibility, so he can play, right?
Mm-hmm.
All
There's
right,
got to be a loophole.
Ewing. There's got to be a loophole, and then this next matchup requires no conversation.
You're right. UNC Greensboro. No, it's Florida State, obviously.
Florida State. We're clicking it, and we're not even going to discuss it because there's no point.
Pretty sure Florida State has more height on their team than there is in the entirety of city streets in Greensboro. So
honestly, yeah.
And Greensboro is a fairly large city.
It is, but Florida State is I mean, probably the best team in the ACC. Definitely the best team in the ACC in this sort of setting.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, hook 'em Spartans, but then no, not a chance for Wes Miller and the boys. All right, well, we got another play-in game that we're not picking, but we're picking BYU against the winner of the play-in game.
Either Michigan State or UCLA.
Michigan State or UCLA, kind of big names for play-in game.
Yep.
I think it'll be the best play-in game, and it's probably the only play-in game other than the App State game, at least for a little bit, that I'll actually watch.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this: if UCLA wins, I think BYU will win. If Michigan State wins, I think Michigan State will win.
Well, you got to pick.
So
no, well,
if
we agree, we can do that.
So
no, but we can't leave something blank.
That's true. That's true. So I will give this one to you guys because I'm assuming that you're actually on opposite sides of it. We'll see where we are whenever you guys decide.
Well, let's look at something. BYU's 1-3 versus top 25 teams this year. But guess how many times they play Gonzaga? 3. So they're 1-0 against top 25 teams this year because Gonzaga's in their whole different league.
Gonzaga plays on another planet.
And that would put them at 20-3 overall. But you also have to consider they kind of play in a piss-poor conference, right? Not much conversation. You beat San Diego State, who I don't think's good. You got smacked by 26 points against USC. You beat Utah State, who we already picked to lose by 3 points. And you beat Boise State? Like, what? So, like, it's honestly hard for me to pick this BYU team with the only time we saw them actually play good teams is against Gonzaga and against USC, where they absolutely they just got pissed on. So I think whoever's winning that playing game, regardless of if Michigan State or UCLA, is coming out on top.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little hard to compare anyone to Gonzaga, and we're not trying to do that because no one can be compared to Gonzaga. But I do think there's value in getting walloped by really good teams. But I don't think it's really going to help BYU in a tournament setting. But I do think BYU will scrape through this first round very scrappily.
They do have a couple guys shooting over 40% from 3, which is always important in tournament play.
Yep.
So
shooting teams
hit or miss.
Hook 'em BYU.
We're split. It's all you, buddy.
Oh, yeah, we are. Well, Bryce,
and you're split.
And you're saying regardless of who wins, right?
Saying regardless. I
Wow.
think whoever wins that game is coming because, I mean, you have Michigan State playing in the best conference in the world this year. Even making the tournament from the Big Ten is a good job. Congrats to them. And UCLA, storied program. Chip Kelly's their coach.
Chip Kelly, congratulations. Two-sport coach.
No, but UCLA is obviously they're a program where they're not going to put you in unless they see something because, I mean, it's UCLA. You have expectations.
And Lonzo Ball.
And the Holiday brothers and Russell Westbrook and Kevin Love. So, I mean, I do see Michigan State winning that playoff game, Austin, and I do see them playing BYU. But I still think whoever wins that game is beating BYU.
Then I'm going to echo what Carson said, and we'll go hook 'em Spartans, just some different Spartans.
Go Spartans.
Go Spartans, baby. First playing game. Only playing game. Yeah. Making it to day 2 of the NCAA tournament, day 3, whatever, or day 4.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Their
Week
second
5,
game.
Something
and,
like
another game.
Guys, I
Connecticut, Maryland.
Connecticut, Maryland.
Yeah.
I love Shaka Smart.
Hook 'em.
I'm taking him.
Although Abilene or Abigail or whatever, however you pronounce it, Christian.
But I am going to say if there's a 3 seed that I think is going to fall, it's going to be Texas.
Yeah,
we're not talking
they're
about
not going to.
Yeah, I was going to say both of those schools are in Texas, right? Texas is in Texas, and then Abigail Christian Online University is also in Texas, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be interesting.
Could be interesting, but that literally doesn't matter. So Texas, hook 'em.
Absolutely.
All right, Connecticut versus we've got Ryan Boatwright and Shabazz Napier versus Melo Trimble
And Steve Blake.
and Steve Blake.
So quick backstory about UConn. Before the season even started, I put a bet that they would win the national championship. So there's a little bit of bias here from me. UConn started off the season hot, lost their best player, far and away best player. Played some top 25 teams where they lost all of them. By the time the conference tournament came around, he's back. They look good. VPI rankings 15, so metrics love them, and I do too with their best score coming back. And Maryland, they're a great 3-point shooting team, and 3-pointers will get you through March, aka the Boilermakers this past year with Carson Edwards,
And
another guy. But I do see Connecticut coming out on top of this. They have my vote, and I think Connecticut can honestly make a run this year. Not saying they're going to win it all, and I'm going to get my money that I put. But
$50.
I could see them. I could see them winning a lot more than one game.
Yeah, I like UConn in this game as well. So I couldn't tell you where Connecticut is on the map, and I tried earlier. I took a test. Connecticut,
I
got
tell
it
you
wrong
where
every
Maryland
time.
is on the map, or Connecticut. But I mean, not that my opinion matters right now, but I'd probably say Maryland because they play in a good conference, and there's a lot of value in getting walloped by really good teams.
Well, Big East is not bad by any. Or no, they're in the American now, aren't they? Are they in the Big East and? Yeah, are they in the Big East in basketball or American?
Oh gosh, it's so confusing. They're definitely in the Big East.
Yeah.
But that matters compared to the Big Ten.
Yeah, but
we're going Huskies. Hokum, Shabazz Napier, Kimball Walker, Ryan Boatwright,
and guys,
Hashim Thabit. If
there's going to be a 15-2 upset, it's going to be this one. We have Rick Pitino-led Iona versus the red-hot Alabama team. Alabama just won the SEC tournament. They are on fire, led by a lot of seniors. Second-year coach is great. Alabama plays great basketball, but on the other side, you have Hall of Fame coach Rick Pitino, who obviously, for reasons, got skirted out of there in Louisville for hiring pleasure women. But
you said that.
Obviously, if there is a 15-2 matchup to pick, it's going to be this one. But also, you're stupid if you pick a 15 to be a 2 seed. 7% of people on ESPN are actually picking Iona, which is a lot more than I would expect.
A lot more than really understand basketball, I guess.
Yeah.
This is a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, same.
But it's worth talking about because of Rick Pitino.
Because of Rick Pitino. We have to mention his name. But Alabama shoots a ton of threes. They don't shoot any mid-range shots, and they play really good defense. I don't think they start or play a player over 6'8", which is interesting. And they have SEC Player of the Year Herb Jones, who didn't even average 11 points a game.
But he
was top 10, and he was top 10 in every other major stat,
and was SEC
points.
Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, Defensive Player of the Year, Player of the Year,
and
best player, best team, better defense, and they can shoot.
Everything about him, he is the best leader anybody's ever seen ever.
Yeah.
And you need people like that who are going to step up and help lead you in March.
And he looks sweet.
He does look sweet.
And I love him.
And guys, last
quartet.
Let's quartet.
So Loyola, Chicago, or Georgia Tech?
Yep.
Because
all right, so we're picking the one. There's no Ramblers in this one, but look at the Ramblers, and they're not going to win the game. Georgia Tech's good. They just won the ACC tournament. So you're talking about historically the best conference in all of basketball. They won the championship versus Loyola Chicago, who plays in the
No idea
conference. Ohio Valley, Missouri Valley.
Probably not even that.
There's no telling.
They play in the
Atlantic 10.
Atlantic 10. So,
Interesting.
yeah, hook 'em, Georgia Tech.
Yeah. No,
Moses Wright's
no
a
debate
stud.
here.
Alvarado,
Yeah, Moses Wright, ACC Player of the Year. Alvarado, Defensive Player of the Year.
it's a beast.
That's a two-headed monster right now. Their offense runs through 3 players, but they do have other people who can step up and hit shots when needed. But Moses Wright is really all you need. Yeah, Loyola Chicago, they're just at this point kind of a name just because of their Final Four run, which is kind of frustrating to me and doesn't make me like them at all.
Yeah, it's a cute. Now it's nothing but a cute story.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nothing but a cute story. You had one great run, but you're facing a team who is peaking at the right time. Everybody that on that team's upperclassmen, and in March you win with that. Yeah, Loyola Chicago has that too, but if you're Defensive Player of the Year and Player of the Year in the ACC, you're better than the people on Loyola Chicago.
Yep, and they have both of them in 2 separate people, not like Alabama and the same person.
Yeah.
2 separate people.
2 separate people. So, in my opinion, Georgia Tech's the best 9 seed and should be much higher than that being ACC
Yeah,
champions.
definitely.
That's disrespect. They were going to be a 10 seed if they weren't ACC champions, and that should have flown them up just 6 or 7 in my opinion. But I'm picking Georgia Tech as well. That's a clean sweep there.
Yeah, I think they would have been probably a strong 6 seed even at that.
Yeah.
But Tennessee, Oregon State. What are we thinking?
Austin?
Yeah, and I don't see a way the Beavers pull this one out.
Hook 'em Beavers.
I like the Vols in this one. As weird as it sounds, I feel like this game, just based on everything that I've seen this year, I feel like this game is going to be that 5-12 that a lot of people get really upset over, and it's going to end up being like 85 to like 56, and it'll just be a stomping. And
I mean, we have a bid stealer.
yeah, I think it'll be a game where Oregon State has a lot of hype. They won their conference, but that hype will get smashed by Tennessee pretty quickly in the first half.
I know it doesn't matter, but I know I said the Colorado-Georgetown game. I didn't pick the bid stealer there because I think Colorado's a very well-rounded team. I look at Tennessee, and I know I'm all about defense travels in March, but their offense sucks. They don't have anybody who's going to step up and score, and one of their top scorers is out for the tournament. And Oregon State is hot right now. Won the Pac-12. That's not an easy conference to come out of. I mean, Oregon State has people who can step up, hit shots when needed. I mean, I watched that Pac-12 championship game. I didn't really know anything about them before that. It was a fun little ride to join them on. I would honestly pick Oregon State over Tennessee here. I know it doesn't matter, but it's definitely a game to watch. And like you said, Austin, it is probably going to be a popular pick. ESPN has 24% of people picking that game, which is pretty high for Oregon State. And I would be in one of those 24%. But, looking at them, they did beat Colorado, USC, Oregon twice, and UCLA this season. Not really any terrible losses to any big teams. They've been competitive, while Tennessee, they do have some great wins as well, but they also have some losses that aren't great.
Yeah.
But doesn't matter. I'd pick Oregon
That's why
State.
Tennessee's an upset pick.
But got to go with Tennessee.
All right.
And Carson, I know you love this Oklahoma State team.
Yeah. I mean, this Oklahoma State team, 4 seed. They're definitely better than a 4 seed. I mean, they have the best player in the country. How can he not be the best player on the floor? And why are you picking the Flames? Anybody?
Because they were founded in 1971.
71.
Hook or 71.
Beat them.
Beat Coastal.
Beat them.
Yeah, Cade Cunningham's a beast. He's the LeBron of the college game right now. He can literally do everything, makes the crazy passes, can step up, hit the huge shot, plays great defense.
Defend all 5
Yeah,
positions.
he's gonna
6'8".
He's going to be the number 1 overall pick. I think he has the potential to literally be the next LeBron James. He's a leader. How can you not like that in March? Sorry, Liberty.
Sorry, Liberty.
Yeah.
Buchma.
No
Liberty
argument from me. I agree. Cade Cunningham's probably the best player in the country right now,
And I
and
think he's going to carry him pretty
Mhm.
far.
I think his brother's name is Cannon, too, which
And
is
that is
awesome.
sweet. That is sweet.
If he
I
doesn't
think a
pitch
4
in the
seed was a
majors,
little bit disrespectful.
I think they're accurately placed at a 4 seed, but
They're the best. No,
I mean,
that's hard for me to say they're the best 4 because the 4 seed is the 4 line is strong.
I mean, you got to think that's a top 16 team in the nation.
Yeah, I mean, definitely can't disagree that they're top 16, but I would have put them at a 3,
And that's
probably
fine.
a strong 3, and we can disagree with that. But hey, I'm going to be picking them for a while, and on to the next one.
which is probably the most interesting game in the tournament in the first round.
Might be the
right?
most interesting game in the tournament.
But right off the bat,
It's
I'm
not
going
interesting for me,
Syracuse.
Yeah, here's the thing with, a team like Syracuse. In the ACC, year in, year out, you see that 2-3 zone, and teams, you don't have it entirely figured out because it's a beast of its own, Jim Boeheim's 2-3 zone. But as soon as you go outside of the ACC and you're not playing against that 2-3 times a year, you are lost. And that's why Syracuse, a couple years ago, they were 11 seed, made the Final Four. You don't know what you're getting into, especially when you have 2-3 days to prepare for a team like Syracuse and a team like San Diego State, who plays in the Mountain West and doesn't have any competition at all. Going against these super lengthy, fast guards that they're having to deal with in this 2-3 zone that's impenetrable. They have the lengthy bigs, they have the lengthy guards that are just clogging up every passing lane, contesting every shot. I think it's a nightmare matchup for San Diego State, and I don't see them coming out of that.
No, I mean, Jim Boeheim loves pissing his pants, but I mean they're winning this game.
I wouldn't think we'd have a sweep for an 11 seed.
No, the zone is a problem, and that doesn't even count for the fact that they're gonna have the best player on the court, and they hit a ton of threes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the next game is I don't even think we need to talk about it unless you guys are going to surprise
State versus Bob Huggins. Yeah.
I mean, this isn't the same Bob Huggins team we're used to, though. Who's going to press 94 feet the whole game. It's a definitely offensive-centric team, but it's a different Bob Huggins team, but it's a great Bob Huggins team, just like any team coached by him is going to be. And Morehead State, they are actually, I think they won a game a few years ago, the NCAA tournament as a 14 seed, but that's not happening this year at all.
Got the threes sweeping it. Do we have every top 4 seed sweeping it?
Yes, they should.
Yeah.
I mean, they should, but will they? We'll see. We think
March.
so.
Yeah.
But we're unqualified, so it doesn't really matter.
It's March. All the top seeds winning is an upset. So
true.
We've got it.
So the next game might be a little bit more exciting if it was football, like 5 years ago or 10 years ago. But I think it could be an interesting 7-10. Usually the 7-10 games are either super blowouts or they're super close games. And I think I like Clemson in this game. If I had to put a percentage on it, it'd be 52-48. So I'm not sold on Clemson. Not score. No, I think it'll be maybe higher scoring than that. But I'm not super sold on Clemson, but I do think they have the edge just almost solely based on the conference that they play in. So,
yeah, I think Clemson might be the most inconsistent team in college basketball. They beat Alabama, come out the next week, lose to Virginia by 35. And then win-loss Florida State, win-loss Georgia Tech, win-loss Virginia Tech, win-loss Syracuse. Who's going to show up for this team? Rutgers, they beat an Illinois team, barely lost to a Michigan team who was at full strength at the time, beat Purdue, split with Michigan State. This Rutgers team, they're also inconsistent, but they're going against better competition on a day-to-day basis and, have pulled out some victories in that. While, Clemson, I can't really figure them out. And a team that I'm not confident, I don't know who I'm going to get. I don't want to pick. So I think I'm going to go with Rutgers.
Well, yeah, and you just have I mean, rightfully no faith in the good Clemson team to show up, but that's also a team that if the good team does show up, we could see them be playing in
Yeah, you could go to second weekend for sure.
Yeah, in next weekend. But I'll take Clemson in this one. I don't really like the fact that Rutgers split with Illinois, and that was their only top 25 win. It's not going to get you anywhere in March.
Yeah.
So.
And we don't really have to pick Houston versus Cleveland State, I don't think.
Nope.
Yeah. I don't even think that one is going to be close. That one's going to be a sad one for Cleveland State. So.
Yeah, no, don't think there's any debate. But we can go ahead and move up to the next part of the bracket.
Mm-hmm.
If we want, we can go ahead and pick all the way to the Elite Eight. If we would like to do that,
I'm fine with that.
Sure.
A couple rounds at a time. Well, Gonzaga, Oklahoma.
Gonzaga.
I mean, yeah. Gonzaga's averaging 92 points a game, which is not heard of ever.
Well, against Pepperdine.
Okay, yeah, but it's 92 points a game.
And Dixie State.
Oklahoma, they're a good team. I mean, as badly as you want to pick. Oh, an 8-1 upset.
This isn't the 8-1.
Yeah, I don't think this is the 8-1 upset.
This Gonzaga team is less beatable than other Gonzaga teams that have also been 1 seeds. They're a very, very strong team, and they're undefeated for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that Gonzaga-Baylor game could have happened because Gonzaga would be even more entrenched in the top seed.
Yeah.
So we're saying Zags this one. Austin, I don't think you're going to disagree.
No, not at all.
Even if Baker Mayfield comes out to play for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Even if Trae Young comes out to play for Oklahoma.
Yeah. It would
Now,
take
boys, we
a
have
miracle.
We have a 5-4 game where I don't think either of the teams are very great for their ranking.
I also don't think either of them want to win. I don't know what that means, but that seems like something an announcer would say.
It does. Creighton fell apart against Georgetown. Virginia just isn't Virginia. They were the 1 seed, obviously, in the ACC, but had to pull out of that tournament due to COVID stuff. It makes you think, are they going to be able to practice? Are they going to be...
They haven't played in a while.
They haven't played in a while, but also Creighton's coming off a bad loss. Do we think that, that loss is going to be avenged with Virginia? I don't have any confidence in either of these teams, so I want to hear y'all talk about them before I make my decision.
Well, defense travels. And there you go. Defense travels. They have 2 really good big men, Jay Huff and Sam Hauser. And, they've got, what's his name? Kihei Clark.
Kihei Clark is a great decision maker.
He's a great decision maker. He's a really good defender, and he's an experienced guard. And there you go. I'm sticking with Virginia for this one.
Yeah.
I'm a little biased with the ACC teams, but I think that they at least go this far.
Yeah.
And then Creighton's still trying to get the second half of that game that got stopped at halftime last year back. So sorry for them, but
yeah, I think some of the problems that Virginia has had from a off the court perspective with COVID and everything, those problems should be behind them at this point. Hopefully there are no more COVID related issues within that program, so they can put that behind them. They can focus on basketball and get back to winning. But the issues that the Creighton team has had off the court, I think whenever you shine an even brighter light on them during the NCAA tournament with extra media presence and stuff, it's going to cause some issues. So, and I completely agree with Carson that defense travels, and this is a Virginia team that, yes, with some new pieces, but they've been there, they've done it, they know what winning is like. Now, that being said, I don't think they have a shot against Gonzaga, but...
Nope, but they're going to beat Creighton. They're going to play inside out, and they're going to dominate. They're going to dominate, and it's going to be 55-41, and it's not even going to look close.
Yeah, I still don't know who I would pick in that game, but luckily I don't have to because Virginia's going to win.
But you still have to.
This is the worst day of my life.
Have to make a pick.
Creighton.
All right. Didn't matter,
though.
So we move on. All right, well.
I want to go first.
USC, Kansas?
Mm-hmm.
Well, go first.
Okay. Kansas pulling out of the Big 12 tournament.
The
playing
big tournament.
an
big
Eastern
tournament.
Washington team who obviously sucks and won't put up a fight. Guys, I'm picking the Trojans in this game.
Hook'em Trojans. They're going to come up in a
They're
wooden
they
horse or
they have
something.
a strong resume. They've beaten the teams they need to beat. They're good. I mean, yeah, Kansas, they struggled mightily at the beginning of the season. Lost to Gonzaga, Baylor, Tennessee, Texas, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, and I think that's it. But they have beaten Texas Tech. They have beaten Creighton. They also beat Baylor once. Baylor's a great team. They're getting hot at the right time. But I think it's going to be one of those games when you have a unit that plays as good together as USC does. They also have
Evan Mobley.
a better record with more. They have 2 more wins than Kansas and 1 less loss than Kansas. They're a great team. They have experience. They have Mobley, who's I said a stud. And I gotta give it to the Trojans. I think it's a bold pick and one that could easily backfire on me because I think if Kansas plays Iowa or Oregon in the second round, that they could beat them as well. But I'm going with USC.
Well, we have to have upsets somewhere. So let's do it now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like USC in this matchup too. This is probably my favorite 3-6, for an upset, at least.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, shooters win games and big men win games, and they've got as good of a big man as anybody.
Yeah. This one's
And
interesting.
he also looks sweet. Yeah, this one's interesting, but
It is.
speaking of as good of a big man as anybody,
Luka Garza.
Luka Garza. There's not really much to say about him because he's there. You just can't put it into words. Like, he came back for his senior season, and he's somehow been better. I mean, player of the year.
I mean, yeah, but also Iowa hadn't beaten a top 10 team all year. Not saying that USC is a top 10 team.
USC, we're talking about Oregon.
Oh, man, Oregon, they're not a top 10 team. I don't know, but that causes some red flags. They're almost 500 against top 25 games. Yeah, Oregon's played one top 25 team, which causes some concern. But this second half of the season for Iowa has not been very good. They're great on the offensive end. They're average on the defensive end. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think they have that it factor for March. Yeah, they have Luka Garza, who's a dominant big man, but big men in March don't win you games. It's the guards that do. Everybody knows that. I'm going with Oregon.
Carson?
Well, he goes with Oregon. I'll go with Iowa. I mean, we talked about the value of playing in the better conference, and they did. By far, they played in the best one for this year. And they beat really good teams. They did lose a lot of games as well. But I think specifically Illinois is absolutely their kryptonite, but we won't talk about that.
I think it's a lot easier to say they play in better conferences when you're comparing Power 5 teams to non-Power 5 teams. Yep, they're different levels of the Power 5, but like the Pac-12 was not bad by any stretch of the imagination this year.
No, not bad by Pac-12 standards, but the Big Ten is better than we've seen it in a while.
They're dominant, but like you can say that for the ACC every year, but like, I mean, we don't pick every ACC team to win games.
No, but we're comparing a team that played one top 25 team against a team that played 13 games against top 25 teams. Is there no value in that?
I mean, there is, but I don't think it's
and the player of the year.
But I mean, Oregon, you look at their schedule, and all of these teams at one point were in the top 25. So, yeah, they're 0-1 against top 25 teams, but all of these teams, Colorado, USC, Missouri, right now are all top 30 teams. So, I mean, I guess that plays into something. Yeah, they have played good teams, and that's why I am going with Oregon, because they do have that guard play to help counter out that inside presence, which can be stopped a lot easier than guard play with double teams and such.
Yeah.
All right, Austin.
So initially, whenever I filled out my personal bracket, I had Iowa winning this game. And the more and more I've thought about it, the more convinced I am that Iowa is gonna beat Oregon. I think that the two things that I really value come this time of March is seniority, having players that have been around, and there's not going to be that jitter, right? Obviously, they have that in Luka Garza, and then having a player that's got superstar potential, and I think he's already there. Obviously, being the player of the year, so yeah, I'm gonna go Iowa.
We said we wanted to pick.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get to our Elite Eight.
Okay. Gonzaga versus Virginia. I mean, we were struggling picking that 4-5 game with Creighton, Virginia, and we talked about how god tier Gonzaga is this year. I don't see Virginia.
It's hard to win 6 straight games, but Gonzaga's won 80 straight or something?
Yeah.
25?
Feels like it.
24. So, 26 actually. 26-0. Can't overstate it. I don't think they lose in the first 2 weekends. And I think it's fun to pick the upsets, but you don't need to overthink Gonzaga. They're
good.
as good as advertised. They're as good as advertised.
Yeah.
And then here we go. The game.
See, I like this matchup for Iowa a lot more than I do the Oregon matchup. USC's best player, who we've been talking about this whole time, who I'm kind of in love with Mobley. He's a forward. Get Garza on him. Sorry, buddy. I mean, Iowa, their big play just in general is good. I'm going with Iowa.
Yeah, that's going to be a matchup that draws a lot of attention, and I can't wait to hopefully see it. So I do think, though, that this is where I'll give my late tournament upset. I'll give it to USC.
Okay.
Wow, USC, that's a fun upset. We go from 7-seed Oregon to 6-seed USC, a team that actually beat Oregon. But
anything can happen in March.
Anything can happen in March, and this game I don't think really matters because I don't think whoever wins it's going to matter. So let's do the fun little upset. Let's say USC Evan Mobley drops 28.
Okay.
And Luka Garza falls apart and loses his second-round draft pick status.
We going south again, I guess?
Yeah, we'll go straight. South? Yeah, we can do south.
Yep. That's what we did last time.
Yeah.
Starting with Baylor, UNC.
It's an interesting 1-8, but
it is, but I hate UNC. I had to pick them against Wisconsin because I think Wisconsin's not good, so I'm picking Baylor.
Yeah.
Baylor beat Illinois, and Illinois is extremely good. I think they're better than Baylor.
Me too.
But they beat them, which is a paradox.
Yeah. I think out of all the 1-8s or 1-9s, this one has the most potential to be a close game.
It could.
But, yeah, Baylor
I think it'll be a good game.
Too good this season, and Carolina has looked too up and down.
It'll probably be an 83-78 game.
So
yeah, but UNC's peaking at the right time.
They are.
Oh. So
we
talk about coaches.
True.
Well,
Purdue, Winthrop.
Hook'em Boilermakers.
Yeah,
Winthrop.
Yeah, I mean, Purdue's not. They're not struggling. The back half of the season, they're healthy. Sorry,
and they get an easy game.
Yeah.
2 double-digit seeds in a row.
They get a rest game to add into the Baylor game.
They get 2 rest games on the first weekend.
Yeah. Winthrop's not going to lay down, but they're going to get steamrolled.
By Baylor. Yeah, let's just go ahead and pick that.
Yep, we'll go ahead and take Baylor. Don't overthink the 1 seeds. You might want to pick them to lose because it's cute or whatever, but never overthink it.
But Texas Tech, Arkansas.
Texas Tech
is a team that had high expectations and fulfilled those expectations and are playing consistent basketball, winning big games, and not losing the bad ones. Arkansas has overachieved. They haven't lost the game. It's kind of the same thing with Texas Tech, but BPI ranking, Texas Tech is 8, Arkansas is 14. Metrics love Texas Tech. I love Texas Tech. Their offense, like I said, is shaky but can come alive. And when you have leaders on that team, when you're playing good defense, I like them a lot. and I think I'm going to pick Texas Tech. This Arkansas team, to me, is a little bit unproven. They have some good wins, but you also got to think they split with Alabama. Great. They lost by Tennessee, who was a great defensive team, just like Texas Tech is. Okay. They're not. They're also shaky. I'm actually going to say worse on offense than Texas Tech. So, I mean, with that game alone, that's a big highlight and something you can circle. And because, Oklahoma State, they also lost. That's another high powered offense team. LSU, win, loss, loss, high powered offense team. And then Missouri, Florida, Ole Miss, all balanced teams. But um, Alabama and Tennessee, they have 2 out of 3 losses against these high powered defense teams. And that's why I'm picking Texas Tech to beat Arkansas. If they can stop that offense, which I think they will, that's a win.
Yep. Better defense, better offense, better coaching.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
No,
Texas Tech.
No debate there for me. So.
No debate there.
No debate. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about this 2-10 matchup, Ohio State, Virginia
I
Tech.
don't know how I feel about it either.
I know how I feel about
it. My feelings are so split on it because on one hand, it's like, how many times has Ohio State been in this position where they're a high-ranked seed, 2, 3, 4, 5, they win their first round game, and everyone's like, oh, okay. And then maybe they win their second round game and then get rolled in the third round, or they just get rolled in the second round. So it's like they've been there so often that it's hard to say like what's stopping it from happening again. But it's also like how many times can it happen before they finally just win? So.
Well, what's that mean?
I think I like Virginia Tech. I don't think it's Ohio State's year.
Well,
the matchup of the Techs would be my pick.
I got to go Ohio State. I want to make it interesting, but also that's my pick. Truly, I think Ohio State, they're a team that most of their games this year, they have started off slow and they start playing better as the game goes on. They can feel out their opponent. It's honestly scary for me for them to go against that Texas Tech team. But at the same time, Virginia Tech hadn't lost against a ranked opponent all year. So that's interesting.
They're beating good teams when it matters.
BPI doesn't love Ohio State. They're 10th for a 2 seed. Not great. But also Virginia Tech is 40. So I got to go Ohio State. I think that they're a very good team. And I don't think Virginia Tech has that defensive power or offensive power to seal the game either early or hold Ohio State off late.
Yeah, I don't think this is a particularly strong Virginia Tech team. And Ohio State has E.J. Liddell, who's an absolute monster, and I love him.
So we're going Hook 'em Buckeyes.
Hook 'em eyes.
And like I said, this matchup for me is awesome. This is everything I probably want in a Elite 8 match or Sweet 16 matchup with these two teams playing. Offensive firepower, defensive firepower. Who wins? With NFL, we usually see defense win the playoffs. As much as I love and I'm high in this Texas Tech team, I think I got to pick Ohio State. But that's a huge internal battle for me. So maybe I'm undecided until you guys pick. Yep, I retract.
Well,
yeah, this one, because I guess I sympathize with the BPI that I'm not super hot on Ohio State, but this Texas Tech team also has its question marks for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough, but I think I want to pick Ohio State in this game. I know I wouldn't have picked them against Virginia Tech, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's either going to be a story of this is their year where they make a pretty good run and they show people that, hey, this is a legit program that can make it past the second round, or they're going to get demolished in the second round and it's just going to be the same old. So, but I'll go Ohio State in this game because that would be fun to see them against Baylor too. So,
and playing great to decent teams this year, just so you guys can know, Ohio State has split every one of those series.
Well,
So it's kind of a toss-up of who you're getting from Ohio State.
they get one shot against Texas Tech, and they don't get to split this game. But I'm going with Ohio State.
Okay. Yep. So I guess I don't feel bad about picking Ohio State.
There you go, 3-0, even though they weren't last round. How interesting. And let's get this bottom half of the bracket filled out.
Now, guys, this is my favorite 1-9 matchup. You have Michigan's best player, what's his friggin' name? Isaiah Livers, out. Michigan did not win the Big Ten tournament, given we talked about how great that conference is. But without Isaiah Livers in March, without your star player in March, going against a team, like I said before, who's starting five might be the best cohesive unit in NCAA basketball, I think you got to upset Bruin. I'm going with the Bonnies.
Hook 'em Bonnies. I'm not going with
the
the Bonnies, though, but hook 'em Bonnies.
Yeah, I'm also not going with the Bonnies.
Yeah, I mean, I think Juwan Howard's already made a big statement as a coach, and I think he's going to at least sweep the first weekend. And I think, I think that's as far as he'll go, but we'll get into that later.
I'm just saying, if
I
St.
think
Bonaventure and Michigan meet in the second round, I will put $20 on St. Bonaventure.
And hey, you'll probably win 400 if they win, but I don't think so. I think it's just even more of a statement to win without your best player.
But they didn't.
Well, I'm saying they're going to.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we're going to compare St. Bonaventure and any team from the Big Ten.
Ohio State. That's why they lost 2-1.
But any team in the Big Ten.
No. Yes. Because I really like the St. Bonaventure team.
Well, hook 'em Bonnies. But get them out of here.
Georgetown, Florida State.
Georgetown, Florida State. We're not going to talk about it.
I think picking Georgetown the first round was stupid for y'all. And I think you'd be even more stupid to do it against Florida State. Florida State.
Florida State.
I think they're great, not that great. So, Florida State.
All right. Well, we've got a play-in game versus Texas. I'm going to go ahead and take Texas because it's a play-in game.
Someone in the playing game made the Sweet 16 pretty consistently? No. Isn't that a thing?
Not exactly sure. At least a double-digit seed has made it in like 9 of the past 10 years or something.
Do we have a double-digit seed?
Yeah,
Nope.
we've got one on the other side that's definitely going to make it.
Yeah, we do. Maybe.
Definitely.
Well, you can pick this play-in game.
No, I don't want to.
I like Texas.
Yeah, Shaka Smart. I love Shaka Smart. I'm not picking against Shaka Smart until the next round. Some games don't need to be overthought, and this is one of them.
Yep. Yeah. And as I know, I said I love this UConn team, and I have some money in the bank if they win the national championship, which they won't. I do think this UConn team's good, but this Alabama team is great.
Very.
With stars on both sides of the ball. Alabama.
Yep, they've got Tua Tagovailoa. They've got
Mac Jones.
They've got who was the guy who had
Derek.
hot girlfriend?
Aaron. No.
Not hot, but that's what the guy called her.
But she was.
Yeah. What was it?
He played for the Bills. AJ McCarron.
AJ McCarron, yeah. Why did quarterbacks always get all the beautiful women? That's what it was. So yeah, go Bama.
Absolutely.
All right.
Roll
Michigan,
Tide.
Florida State. Bryce was picking the Bonnies, and
I'm
Florida State's better than the Bonnies.
I'm picking Florida State.
So he's picking Florida State. I'm picking Florida State. I think I've got them to. We're not going to say win it all yet, but I've got them going pretty far.
Yeah, I think they're my favorite. They're my favorite.
We've got our first
4.
1 seed down.
Yeah, they're my favorite 4 from a team perspective. I think Oklahoma State has a better player, but Florida State's a better team.
State.
So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Bryce is here. He's catching up.
Yep.
He's good.
He's catching up.
So Tejas and Alabama, great football matchup. Probably Rose Bowl like 40 times in 40 years.
Something like that.
Let me just say, Roll Tide. I hate Kyle Busch. Raise Hail, praise Dale.
Amen.
Go Tide, baby.
Hook 'em Tide.
Carson, you like the Tide as well?
He's leading them to victory.
And like I said, Texas has been. I don't like them as a 3 seed, honestly. They've lost games they probably shouldn't have lost. 7-6 versus top 25 teams, which is shaky. Alabama's 1-3. BPI does not like Texas at all at 22 metrically. But yeah, I don't love this Texas team. I'm very high on this energetic, play hard, rough, tough Alabama team.
Shoot and make a ton of threes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they don't shoot anything other than layups and threes.
Roll Tide.
They're
Roll
basically
Tide.
an NBA team already. So
Yep.
Mhm.
And then we get to the most exciting matchup, Florida State, Alabama, but we'll talk about that later.
yeah.
And now we move on to the AFC East.
AFC East.
Illinois versus
Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
AFC East.
As high as we were talking about Georgia Tech and how, they're ACC champions, it's great. They have the ACC Player of the Year, ACC Defensive Player of the Year. This Illinois team might have one of the best players in the nation on it, and he's wearing a LeBron mask, and he's averaging, 23 points a game right now. That's someone you need in March. As well also when you have a 6'8", 270-pound big man. He actually might be 6'10" or something. And he's super skilled, has touch around the rim. You don't see that much. He's a tank. Illinois is a problem. And I think, honestly, they will crush Georgia Tech as much as I love them.
Yeah.
Well-
I don't have any rebuttal for that. Carson may have botched his pick with the Fighting Illini, or did they win their conference? Actually, now that I think about it, did they win their conference?
Yes.
What do you mean my
championship?
pick?
You picked that
They
game.
they won the Big Ten championship. So if that tells you anything.
That
Yeah.
tells you anything.
And they beat Michigan by 23 when they were fully healthy, and beat Iowa twice.
Yep.
And Ohio State twice, and Wisconsin twice.
But Iowa can't beat good teams. Great teams. They can beat good teams.
They beat Michigan, who would have probably been a 1 seed if they were fully healthy.
Well, there you go.
Wait, they are a 1 seed,
Yeah.
and they were fully healthy.
What's happening here?
And Iowa's
We don't know what's going
and
on.
Iowa's a 2 seed.
Hook 'em Big Ten.
So they
I
and Ohio
think we're
State's
all
a
lagging.
2 seed.
I think
Hook 'em Big Ten. We're lagging. We talk about how good Jose Alvarado and Moses Wright are, but Illinois got Ayo and Kofi, and they're probably both better, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, love the ACC, but Illinois is not losing the first weekend. They're way too good.
I think this next game is going to have a triple-double in it.
Oh, interesting prediction.
I say Cade Cunningham's going to have 20, 10, and 10,
Yes,
there you
sir.
go. Russell Westbrook.
and they're going to win.
I know I already picked Oregon State in this last game.
Oregon.
In the last game, Oklahoma State is Oregon State on steroids plus Cade Cunningham. They'll beat Tennessee, no problem.
No problem. All right. Well, here's our double-digit seed.
Yeah. This is a
Boeheim
coaching.
Huggins.
Yeah, this
Defense.
Well,
This
this
is
your
a
offense was-
coaching matchup
And
right
for
here. Honestly, I don't even want to watch this game. I just want to watch them get out in mid-court. They put an octagon down, and they just fight it out.
That's what it's going to look like.
I just want to watch the coaches fight it out because
But
it'd be hilarious.
hook 'em, buddy, Boeheim. That's all I
Bryce?
got.
I'm going West Virginia. They look good. They've beat Kansas. They lost to Baylor by 5. Lost to Gonzaga by 5, who we thought was an unstoppable juggernaut. Beat Texas Tech, who I love. Great defensive team twice. Syracuse is a great defensive team, not the same defensive team. I think Bub Huggins has been there long enough. He's probably had to play Syracuse multiple times before. Probably knows that zone. I do think West Virginia comes out of this game, and I think they do it pretty easily.
Oh, I'm going with the orange. I think that
Hook 'em.
there's always a double-digit seed that makes it through, and I like them in this one. And as much as it seems like a meme, I do think that they have a really good chance in this game. So, but I do think it'll be a tight game.
If
And
I'm being honest, if West Virginia had gone on to the next round, I would have put them in the Elite Eight. But obviously, that's not happening now.
Well, Clemson, Houston.
I mean,
Are we overthinking this one? Because I'm not.
I
Yeah.
picked Rutgers in the first round, so I'm picking Houston this round for sure. Houston's unstoppable. They're great
Can
offensive.
Clemson play 2 good games consecutively?
Nope.
Probably not. But if they do, they could probably win a 3rd game. But that would be as far as I would put it. But I'm taking Houston.
Yeah.
They're better, built different, and Clemson has actually looked awful at times,
Mm-hmm.
which is hard to pick for.
Yeah. So then,
All right, we have two juggernauts facing off against
Yeah.
each other in Cade Cunningham versus LeBron Mask guy, whose name I'm not good at pronouncing. But then you have to look outside of those two players. Like, obviously, they're going to get theirs. That's that. You can't really stop them. But you look outside of those two guys, and Illinois, in my opinion, they're far and away the better team outside of. Because, if there was a 1 seed, like we see Michigan this year, who their star players out, or Baylor, who doesn't really necessarily have a star, I could see Oklahoma State upsetting one of those 1 seeds. But I think this is the worst possible matchup for them out of the 1 seeds in Illinois, just because they have that firepower where they can go back and forth with their star players. And so that's why I'm picking Illinois.
Austin?
Yeah, I have no disagreement with what Bryce said. I think that it'll take everything that Cade Cunningham has to beat the depth of Illinois. And yes, he is a good passer and he's an enabler on the court and he's a leader like we've already talked about. But I don't think that it'll be enough. I think generally we see the teams that have depth and they play well as a team and they work together. They make good runs in the tournament. And Illinois has shown that to be their style all season. And they have a star. So I got to go with them.
Yeah. My pick doesn't matter, and it would take an otherworldly performance from Cade Cunningham to beat this Illinois team.
But is that out of the question?
It's not out of the question.
No.
It's definitely possible, but this is an Oklahoma State team that would be probably a fringe tournament team without the best.
Yeah.
Without the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it would take 40. I would put a number on it. 40.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna be rooting for him to drop 60 and then win, but I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah.
And my opinion didn't matter because you all had both already picked
Yeah.
Illinois anyway. So
now we got Houston versus Syracuse. I think if you sub West Virginia in there, it's a lot trickier game for Houston. But I also could see this being a potential matchup nightmare for Houston. I meant to say it was going to be easier for Houston if West Virginia was playing. But yeah, Syracuse, it's kind of a matchup nightmare for them. Like I said before, he is an experienced coach, but he probably has never faced Syracuse before, I would guess, just because of being in the American Conference. Don't really see Syracuse branching out and playing those kind of teams, or you don't really see Houston with the national spotlight like your Big 12 teams. But it could be a matchup nightmare. Like we said, that 2-3 zone is scary if you don't know what you're doing with it. But at the end of the day, Houston has more talent, a lot more. It's a tough pick for me, but I'm going with Houston.
Carson?
Yeah, I mean, games like this, I'll say more so teams like Syracuse, they could any given night go 10 for 17 from 3 and not really even have a chance or leave a chance for the other team. So you never really know. I think it would be fun to pick Syracuse. So if Austin, if you pick Syracuse, I'll go with you. But if you don't, then it wouldn't matter. So I'll go Syracuse either way.
Well, I was going to go Houston either way. So I think that's where the run ends. I do think this will be a competitive game, though.
Yeah,
and
fun to watch.
Houston might be down at halftime in this game.
And if it matters at all, one of Houston's best players, Jawan Roberts, is out, who potentially could infect the spread by 0.65 points.
Wow, that's 0.65 points. That's a lot.
Huge.
It is. And we're going to compare that to Isaiah Livers with Michigan. This is why I picked the Bonnies, who they say could change the spread by 2.26 points.
So he's a third of the player of Isaiah Livers. That's not true.
Yeah. So do we go back to the top now?
Houston.
Back to
back to the
Gonzaga.
top. Let's get our final four teams. Not going to overthink this one. I'm going with the Gonzaga.
Yep, they're ridiculous.
They have three superstars.
They're so
actually.
good.
Yep. And experience. Like,
Yeah.
what more could you want besides superstars and experience?
Yeah.
Nothing.
And Kelly Olynyk.
And 92 points a game. And Adam Morrison.
They have Adam Morrison, Kelly Olynyk, and John Stockton. I mean, it doesn't get any better.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Not in love with this Ohio State team.
Not at all.
No. Especially not when they're put against a team like Baylor.
Yeah, who's going to out hustle them to death.
Yeah.
They play with the highest motor I've seen in forever. They have 2 1 seeds. That's kind of boring. But this one, no matter what, doesn't have a 1 seed.
True.
But
no matter what.
I've said before, this Alabama team plays defense. They play hard. Probably the second most hard hustling team I've seen. This Florida State team, played a team in Georgia Tech who plays the same way Alabama does, but Alabama's better. And they lost that game to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech was in control the whole time. I could see that potentially playing out the same way with this game in Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, I love Florida State. I think they were definitely, maybe, possibly, probably underseeded just by 1 seed. But I've been saying it for a while. I love Alabama. I love this Alabama team. I don't love Alabama.
Roll Tide, we hate.
Yeah.
Who do we hate?
Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch. And Race Hill Praisdale.
Okay, yep. So we're going with Alabama. We're not going to have anything other than 1s and 2s in this final, which actually is technically an upset because everyone else is going to not have that.
Yep.
So we're going Alabama. Again, shoot a lot of threes. That's a problem. And Florida State didn't even win their last game. So, but at this point, in this future, they will have won 3 in a row. All right, Illinois, Houston, fornication. Let's see it. Are we overthinking it, or are we correctly thinking it?
No, I'm correctly thinking.
Me too.
Yeah.
Better players, best player, better conference.
Mm-hmm. Big Ten champions.
Yeah.
Big Ten champions. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Or American Conference champions who they had to play Cincinnati in their conference champ. They waxed the floor with them, but Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Cincinnati.
I think when you put
are exactly what they have been.
Yeah, when you turn the
Okay,
bright
guys.
lights on, Illinois got it. So the Final Four.
Final Four was would have been in Indianapolis no matter what, correct?
Yes.
But with the bubble, everything's in Indiana. So here we go. April 3rd. We've got Gonzaga, Bama, and Baylor, Illinois. Don't know which game will be first. But we'll pick Gonzaga, Bama first. Who we got?
Austin, kick us off.
I'm not
Please kick us
overthinking it. I think that both of these games have potential to be really, really close. But the Gonzaga-Bama game, we've been so confident about Gonzaga so far. And I'll just be honest, I want to see the Gonzaga-Baylor game that we did not get to see earlier in the season. So maybe that tells you where I'm going with both games, but definitely with the Gonzaga game.
Yeah, Gonzaga's the better team.
Yeah. I do think Gonzaga is unbeatable. But if there's any team that's going to do it, it's Alabama. But I can't pick against Gonzaga. I mean,
So-
weak conference aside, like it doesn't matter. They have 3 players who are probably top 15 in the country,
Mm-hmm.
and that's please understate that. Like,
Yeah.
I love Alabama. I think that if they get hot, they could give Gonzaga problems. But I'm taking Gonzaga probably 7 times out of 10 at
Mhm.
least.
At least. That
But
leads us
that's
to
a fun game.
Baylor, Illinois. We know where Austin's going with Baylor. I'm going the opposite. Baylor beat them once earlier this season. I think Illinois is a much more confident and better team at this point because Illinois did struggle the first half of the season. They completely turned it on. They're on a whole different gear right now. I love them. I think Illinois is definitely going to want revenge, and they're feeling confident and cocky coming out of the Big Ten, and rightfully so because they have those superstars on offense, on defense, inside, outside. Like I said, Baylor plays hard and they're going to give it their all, but I don't think their all is going to be enough in this game. And Illinois wins, maybe not in a close game. I'm gonna say 8 points. Illinois
8 points.
in the
That's
Final
fair.
Four.
Yeah, and well, this is a season without a lot that was a lot that was given. It was like so much uncertainty, so much worry just throughout the season. And I think we're gonna see these teams with older players, these teams with better players, and these teams that play in these really just thrive. I think you're not going to see as many upsets as we might see usually. So we've got a bunch of really good teams in the Final Four. No super big upsets. But with this game, I would love to see the Gonzaga Baylor game that was canceled. But I think Gonzaga Illinois would be a much more interesting game because I think Gonzaga would have beat Baylor by probably 12 or 15. So we're going with Illinois. And Austin, we know where you were going. If you want to talk up Baylor a little bit, maybe try to convince us. I don't think you will.
No,
But go ahead.
I really have no other or no way to counter what you were saying about Illinois being hot. They definitely have a chip on their shoulder, and it's much harder to beat a team twice in a season than it is to just beat them once. And not to say that Baylor has fallen off, really, but whenever you compare the end of their season to the end of Illinois is obviously the hotter team. And I think Illinois
they've
has
gotten better.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think
lot.
Illinois also gets better throughout this tournament. I think they see more challenges than Baylor does after the Carolina game, maybe. But yeah, I think Illinois does a good job. I want to see Baylor, and I think that maybe they have the edge by like 1 or 2 points if they do win. But I am all for this national championship. Gonzaga, Illinois.
Well, Illinois, their first Final Four in 16 years, 15
Since Darren
tournaments?
Williams.
Since Darren Williams was running around the court.
Awesome.
And they're going to the national championship.
They are.
I don't think they've been in a national championship this century. I don't think that that they're gonna be worried going into this game. I think this is gonna be a great game. Both teams are gonna be super fired up. And I know I will be really excited if this is a national championship because this might be like the most perfect storm close game possible. Illinois got the perfect counters to Gonzaga's stud big men and Jalen Suggs. And honestly, I don't know who to pick.
Well, I have some insight.
Gonzaga's 31-0 at this point in this hypothetical situation.
They are. But let's take a look back at both their tracks to get here. So Gonzaga plays in a conference that's not deep at all, correct?
At all. Bad.
And now you look at their hypothetical, according to us, their road to this championship. An Oklahoma team who I think could potentially beat this Virginia and USC team, but then they're playing not a great Virginia team, a USC player who at this point, one player's been carrying him to this point. And then you go down to Alabama, who's not necessarily a powerhouse. They're great. They're a very good team.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But I don't see that super tough challenge for Gonzaga coming forward. Now we look at Illinois, a Georgia Tech team who just won the ACC tournament and who's going to be playing. They're going to be playing a lot like the Alabama team. Okay. So they get kind of a taste of what Gonzaga is going to see in the Final Four against Alabama, either not quite as good. Okay, Illinois is getting tested with the best player in the nation their next game. And then, okay, they have an easy game versus Houston. Easy, in quotation marks. Maybe not as tough as that Oklahoma State game.
As other 2 seeds, maybe,
Yeah.
as well.
But they're going to be playing against a very inspired team that wants it more than anything in that game. So.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you have them playing against a super tough Baylor team.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, this West Virginia team who's hypothetically losing to Syracuse and could very easily be playing Illinois if this situation doesn't work out. They lost to Illinois by 5 points. So they're going to, get a taste of what that is as well. then they're playing Baylor. Okay, who's incredible. Now they're playing Gonzaga in the finals. Illinois has been tested a million times this season and quite a few times in this tournament, playing in the Big Ten and then having a tough road to the tournament. Gonzaga, I mean, even we saw Kentucky coming in when they were undefeated. They couldn't pull it out. It's tough to go completely undefeated in NCAA basketball. And I don't see it happening, honestly. I see Illinois, they probably have this, which is weird to say with a Gonzaga team as good as they are. Illinois probably has the best player on the court. And obviously a great surrounding cast. Gonzaga's just close to perfect overall. But I think having the best player on the court in this game alone and just the trials that they've had to get here might give a little bit of an edge to Gonzaga. To Illinois.
Interesting. I was going to make the exact argument against Illinois because I think Jalen Suggs will be the best player on the court. He's an absolute monster. And, the argument against that playing better teams is that, you're going to play against a Baylor team that's playing really hard and it's going to be your toughest matchup maybe of the entire season. Then maybe you'll go into this national championship feeling like you've already slayed the dragon.
No, because Gonzaga's the number 1 overall seed.
Gonzaga is the number 1 overall seed, but if Baylor gives you a run, you're going to go in Monday night and you're going to be tired.
It's true.
You're going to go in tired. You're going to go in having played really tough teams, and maybe one extra game is a little bit too much for Illinois.
But
who knows?
3 days for recovery in basketball is plenty of recovery. Basketball's not as physically demanding as football or even in hockey. That's why you have high schoolers playing 3 games a day for 3 straight days. It's 9 games in 3 days, and they're running fine. I think they'll be 100% rested, 100% ready for the game.
They'll be 100% rested. They'll be 100% ready. But this has happened. You play a really good team. Maybe it gets in your head a little bit. They're not the best team compared to Gonzaga. But I do think there is a possibility of a little hangover. A la, what was it, UNLV in 92, giving Duke an easy game because they didn't show up after they beat Kentucky in the Final Four. So I don't know. I think there's just potential all around for this to be the best game of the season, and I really hope it is. I think Gonzaga's got the better player, but I'm going with Illinois because, they've got what is he, 6'8", 350?
Wait,
6'9", 420?
Let me look him up. Austin, start talking.
Please start talking.
Yeah, I haven't had any doubts about Gonzaga throughout the entire tournament, but I did mean what I said whenever I said I think Illinois gets better, and I agree with Bryce that 3 days in basketball is generally going to be enough for you to recover, unless this game ends up being like a 6 overtime slugfest that pours over into the next day kind of thing, which obviously has only happened once, so I doubt that'll happen again. And the last time we saw Gonzaga in the national championship, they got beat by a North Carolina team that a lot of people said didn't have a chance. And I think they were 37-1 that season, and then lost in the national championship. Was either 37-1 or 36-2, and then they finished with 3 losses. It was something like that. So they were really good that year too. Like they had that huge guy from like Western or Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Poland.
Yeah.
From Poland. And
that
also
was insanely big. He was
Illinois
huge.
center Kofi Cockburn is 7 foot 285. He's a beast.
Yeah.
It's as big as it gets.
That's huge.
But those Gonzaga
huge.
bigs are as skilled as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we've got a clash of titans, and it's a tough game to pick.
Yeah. So I would go Gonzaga, but you guys have both said Illinois, correct? So.
Yeah. I'm torn, but I'm leaning Illinois.
But now we got to go final score.
Final score.
And, Gonzaga scoring 90 a game, Illinois scoring 80 a game. But historically in the national championships, a lot lower scoring.
Yeah.
Just because of nerves and the stage that you're on. I'm going to go 78-72, Illinois.
Well,
okay. Obviously, we're not going to fill this part in, but just know that
you can fill it in however you want.
Yeah.
For our final bracket will be Austin's choice.
Yeah.
So I'll meet you in the middle, Bryce.
Okay.
I'll say Illinois 75, Gonzaga. Nice.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna go. Well, y'all are going 70s. I guess I'll be the one to put it in the 80s. We'll say 83, 80 with a game-winning shot.
Yes, sir.
Might as well. A Chris Jenkins shot.
Ah, yes.
Our it's going to be this guy,
That guy.
Austin Hutcherson to, what's his name? Ayo Dormammu.
Dormammu. To Ayo Jazunmu.
Actually, Trent Frazier, because he looks like Travis Scott.
All right, to Travis Scott for Virginia Tech.
Or Travis Scott to Dormammu.
To Dormammu. All right, well, we're literally just filled out a perfect bracket.
Which is crazy. $1 billion in the pocket.
Macaroni in the pot.
Macaroni.
That's as good as it gets right there. Where
pocket.
Yeah, it's going to be a great tournament. I think that a lot of people are super excited about this, especially because we didn't get one last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I know that the three of us will probably stay glued to TVs, phones, whatever that we can watch on for the next 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks, and there won't be a moment that we don't, talk about this or think about this, because it really is one of the best events in sports. So glad to have it back. And honestly, this could be the craziest year, and every 16 seed could be every 1 seed. We never know. Tomorrow, Gonzaga's program might all have COVID, and they'll have to drop out, right? Who knows?
Yeah, which is wild.
So, obviously, we don't hope that on anyone, but it could happen. It's just the reality of the times that we're living in. So, but
well, congratulations to Illinois.
Yeah.
The Fighting Illinois national champions.
It is.
Yeah.
They are.
Absolutely. So, I think that's going to conclude us, though, for our first ever bracket special here at Unqualified Sports Talk.
Bracket special.
Make sure if you enjoyed
baby.
it, you give it a like, you share it with your friends, your family, your dog, whoever.
Be a friend, tell a friend.
Amen. But make sure to check us out at Unqualified Sports Talk on all the major podcast websites. We'll have another episode coming up in just a few days on Friday at 10 o'clock. So we're going to be talking about a lot of NFL because off-season has been going crazy with free agency starting up. So check it out and let us know what you thought about this. And congratulations, Illinois, one more time.
Congratulations, Illinois.
Hook 'em, baby.
Thank you for watching, and we love you.